Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, let me say to both of you, these are difficult times we're in. We understand that. We appreciate the efforts that y'all make to try to do the best you can with the resources that we have given you. So we fully understand that part of the problem that you're having to deal with, or 99% of it, comes from this side of the dais. But we still want to make sure that we're spending our money in the right way. I'd be remiss if I didn't say to both of you, thanks for your recent visits to Moody. Pretty special place down there, and anytime we have the secretary and the chief come down within a short period of time like the two of you did, it just is a huge boost to morale, particularly with the decisions that had been made just before you got there. You were very well received. General Welsh, let's talk a little more about J-Stars. Everybody that's come before this committee has testified that they are not receiving today the GMTI support that they need, and yet the budget calls for a 40% reduction in the J-Stars fleet, presumably to fund the acquisition of a replacement platform. But now we're talking about a major reduction here, obviously. So I want you to walk me through again the plan for phasing in this reduction and standing up the replacement platform, please, sir.
Senator, as you know, the intent here is to make sure that we have an airborne sensor with command and control capability on board in 2023 and beyond. I mean, that's the point here, is that we have got to figure out how to keep this very valuable capability that all of our combatant commanders want. They don't want to give up any of it today, but we know of no other way to make sure they have it 10 years from now other than to give some up and recapitalize within our own resources. We don't have another option. So the game plan is to give up one airplane in 15, I believe, is the start. I'll double check that. One in 15 and then 5 more in 16. The intent would be to then follow through on the recommendations from our analysis of alternatives that have been completed to look at a business jet model, a smaller, more cost-efficient aircraft. Miniaturizations of sensors has allowed us to do a lot more processing on an airframe of that size. We believe it can do the same dynamic targeting mission and ISR mission that J-Stars currently does, along with the airborne command and control. We believe that this is just a kind of a turnover of that capability within the wing at Robbins. We just keep doing the mission there, and as we build new capability, we fold it into the unit and we transition in place. We think that's the right approach. We don't want to lose the capability in the unit, the credibility in the unit, and the expertise, because it's a very specialized skill set. So it is a matter of giving up some readiness today to make sure that we have capability tomorrow.
And are you confident we're going to be able to have that replacement with an IOC date of 21?
So that's our best guess at this point in time. Until we get started on this, the acquisition strategy, et cetera, has not been developed.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing you say is we're going to retire planes in 15 and 16, and we're willing to give up because of these budget constraints some of our ISR capability within that time frame, irrespective of what our needs might be there, and look towards 21 when we'll start building back that capability to get to where we are now. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yes, sir. What you're hearing me say is that within the Air Force budget, that's the only way we can figure out how to do this to make sure that the capability doesn't go away completely 10 years from now.
Yeah. A-10 obviously is a major issue. It's the only weapon system really you talked about in any specifics in your opening comments, so I know how important it is to you. And I hear what you're saying, that it's not the capability of the airplane, but it's what you can afford with the dollars you've got. But here's a question, though, that I really, in order to satisfy this panel up here as we move into Mark, I think clearly needs to be answered. The A-10, as I understand it, has some assets that are entirely different from ground support that can be given by the F-15, the F-16. Great airplanes, no question about it. But the A-10's got more bullets. It can fly at lower altitude and provide a different type of cover from what a 16 or a 15 may give, even though what they give may be adequate under circumstances, as I'm hearing what you say, and I'm not disagreeing with you. But the A-10 is a peculiar weapon system that has been extremely valuable over the last decade to fight the fight that we've been fighting. Did you consider, as you made this decision, not phasing out all of the A-10s over the next 2 to 3 years, versus phasing out some of them, also phasing out some pretty antiquated F-16s that we've got out there, and looking towards filling that gap with all of these airplanes with F-35s as we look into 2020, I guess, and beyond. So can you walk me through that, General, and tell me what the thought process was relative to just eliminating the A-10s with no backfill there and utilizing F-16s, F-15s totally versus phasing out some of both?
Senator, we did. I'll just give you one example. We looked at the possibility of keeping the A-10s that we'd already done the wing replacement on. If we did that, we would have saved about $1 billion a year. We needed to find, then we would still be looking for $3 billion from some other mission capability. The operational analysis we did was really the key to this. When we looked at all the options, the benefits of getting rid of a fleet, in this case the A-10 fleet, with its logistical infrastructure, the supply tail, all that, is what gave us the savings we needed to balance the books. It's interesting to me that what part of the discussion we're having is a very similar discussion that was going on 40 years ago today in the United States Air Force as we did the competitive fly-off between the A-7 and the A-10 on what should be the next close air support platform for the Air Force. And a very impassioned, dedicated, hardworking, and talented A-7 force was saying the A-10 will never be able to do the close air support mission. The mission will continue. We'll figure out how to do it better than it's ever been done before with the platforms we have. And at some point in time, I believe the Air Force will have another close air support platform, a dedicated one. But it won't be in the near term with the funding levels that we are looking at right now, sir. I just don't see that being possible.
Yeah. Well, I would just close by saying that it's already been alluded to earlier that we've had the conversation over the last couple of years of the retirement of the Global Hawk, particularly that I've forgotten now whether it's Block 30 or Block 40 that I inquired of your predecessor about. That my understanding was the Air Force plan was to take a brand new Global Hawk off the line and take it immediately to mothballs, which just was a dumb decision to everybody sitting around here. And it kind of pleases me in one way that we're now reversing that decision. But it is an indication that that the Air Force has changed their minds on some of these platforms. I just hope we don't come back here next year, General, and you say, whoops, we made this decision on the A-10 and now we decided that's not the right decision. But I respect you and know that you are having the tough decisions to make, and know this is not one of the more pleasant decisions you're having to make. But we're going to continue to dialogue with both of you as we go through this. Thanks to both of you for your service.